Okay, guys, welcome today. Thank you for coming along, taking time out of your Sunday instead of going to church and coming along, listening to me. So everything today is for entertainment purposes. So I'm going to be doing a stand-up comedy. Okay, so how they entrapped us in the system is quite interesting because the whole system is based on presumptions. Now, if you don't know what presumptions are, get on your phone. They presume that you know your rights. Now, if you don't know your rights, I can assure you, you've got none. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today, and you will be sharing with everyone, is because the moment that you start sharing, more information comes down to you. It's the way the universe works. So the more you give out, so if you're going to give shit to people, you're going to get shit dumped back on you. But if you give good, whatever you give out will come back to you. So the presumption is that you don't know your rights, and I'll guarantee you don't. By the end of the day, you will realise just how much you don't. So this is how we become entrapped. This is a bit of a pain, but yeah. Baby is born in the delivery room. Is that right, ladies? And so if you watch Billy's Basics, you'll know what the crown is, won't you? You know what the crown is? The first part that appears from mum. And it says, delivery, the transferring of possession from one person to another. That's where they get us, right there in the delivery room. They transfer possession from mum to nanny state. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. Okay. This is such a serious subject. If I don't make light of it, you'll all walk out of here depressed. And so I'll take the piss out of everyone and make it a bit more fun. Okay, so ward, a child who is pursuant to a court order or administrative action. They wheel you off to the ward. Now you are being administered by the state. And if you listen to Donald Trump, every time he said, not under my administration. So the trust that they formed, the Sedekevai trust that was formed, is under administration. So your birth certificate is actually your death certificate. If you want the live-born one, it is the printout. For those of you who haven't seen one, I'll give you one. There. Can you see? Is my fat ass in the way most of the time? Okay, but there's some tricks on here. In that one, in that column there, it says, if child is stillborn, put the name in that column. So the stillborn is entered in there. Okay, now this is actually a copy of what happens in the register. You'll see it's all handwritten in, but if you look here, you'll see that there's two little lines there. They fold over part of the page in the book and only give you half the information. They hide the rest. Okay, that is so that you don't know the full story. Now, when I got this, it helped me to crack the code. Now, the reason to help me to crack the code was I had a couple of friends. Yep, good man. Yep, that's the one. What happened was I grabbed a couple of my mates, who shall remain nameless, and we went down to birth, deaths and marriages, and I said, we're going to get the live-born. In America, it's a live-born certificate. But all we could get here was the birth certificate. And the Americans kept referring to the live-born one. So we went down there, and the three of us were lined up, each on a different counter. And the lady said, didn't have a clue what we were talking about. And then this one island lady says, oh, I wonder if it's this. So she went out, and she comes back with an A3. You all know what an A3 is? Okay. Good, I don't have to explain everything. Okay. Came out with an A3 page with this on it. And I said, that's it. That's what we're looking for. So the two guys who I was with, they got theirs on there. I said, what about mine? Oh, we're going to have to go to Wellington for yours. Oh, okay. 2 weeks later, I got mine in the mail. Theirs was on A3 standard paper. This is 2011, guys, 2011. Mine came on security paper A4. Bingo, the lights went off. All of a sudden, I realised, the same as a birth certificate, that's a security. But it's not a certificate, and there's a big difference between a certificate and, it says here, oh, sorry, this is not a certificate. We've had ours certified to make it a certificate, but I went through every word on that, and I broke it down, and I did a seminar in Browns Bay back in 2011, and I was 20 years ahead of myself. The people in the room just didn't have a clue. So anyway, that was the first one. Vinny Eastwood put it up on his channel, I Declare I'm Free, I think it's called. You can still go back and look at that original one that I did back in 2011. While you people were blissfully asleep watching the telly. Okay, now, informant. A person who supplies information. Now, you'll always hear the police say, we've got an informant. That's how they lay the charges, is with the informant. But if you have a look over there, you'll see my birth date was on the 3rd of March. Just gone. So all those who didn't give me presents, it's all right. Late presents accepted, you know. But have a look there. There's another date. That is my birth date. Now, if we look at birth, how does it sound? Oh. You see, we're a vessel. Oh. Just playing up for the cameras. He thought I was camera shy. Okay, can we see that a bit clearer? Yeah. Okay, so we are a vessel. We hold water. So they birthed us. And if you go back, who's watched the Pirates of the Caribbean movies? Who's the best character in it? Turner. Bootstrap Bill Turner. Okay, I didn't wear my pirate hat today, but okay. So they birthed the vessel into the system, and once you learn to look at every word, don't take any word at face value, because in their system, it's a private company, and every word has a different meaning, and that's why you have law dictionaries. Actually, this one here was one of my best buys. Would you read out how much that cost me? It cost me a bloody fortune. $4. I go around op shops and $4 for that one. That's a really, you can see I mark all the pages with all the words that matter. And that's a New Zealand law dictionary. So their private company copyrights all the words. And if you use those words, you are using their, just the same as if you, when you really look at things, you will see that A4 is legal paper. That's theirs. Our size is foolscap. Foolscap is slightly bigger, and that's our system. So if you want to stay in the private, you've got to use foolscap. Their font is Times New Roman. Uh, 11.5. Okay, so when you read the court documents, they will all be Times New Roman 11.5. So use any other font except Times New Roman. Okay, so we were birthed into the system because we are a vessel. We hold water. And so they birthed us into the system. That's my birth date there, the 15th. So if ever you're going to be filling out forms, and I'll explain forms in the next segment. If you're going to be filling out forms, you might want to remember the difference between the born date and the birth date. Okay, because we're in a de facto relationship with a dead bastard. Okay. So grab your licenses, guys. Grab your licenses. Okay, so let's have a look. You will see on your license that the surname is separate. Can you all see that?
Not on mine.
We always have a smart ass in the class.
There's no surname on mine.
Okay. They don't hide it. That's the dead one there. That's the living one below it. Like I said, the dead one, the birth date was the 15th of March. The living one was the 3rd of March. Okay. That's the photo of the living. What's the other photo? The opaque one, which will be out to the right on yours. That's the dead bastard. That's the dead one there. The one out to the right, the opaque one, is the dead one. Opaque means like a toilet window. You can't see through it. So that's dead. So now you have the Father, the Son, and hiding in behind there is the Holy Ghost. They tell you this in the good book. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. That's the Sedekah trust there. Okay? A trust was set up in the name of the Father. So when we use the Father's name, that's why they keep it separate. The moment you use that name, bang, you're in contract with them. If you use the last name, all I was given was William Henry. Okay? But the state gave me a surname. So if you use any surname, doesn't matter what it is, any surname, you are now the dead. You're standing up as trustee for the trust. Is that clear? The born date, my born date I showed you there was the 3rd of March. And that was in the very first column. But actually, I'll go back. Whew. Hold on, I'll just... In the first column here, you'll notice a number, 668. That's called the entry number. Now, it doesn't show very clearly on that one, but I've got another one that I can show you where it says entry date. So entry is where they entered our property. The name is the property, and they entered our property there. Okay, so in this one, in here, when born and where born. Okay, that was the date that I was born, St. Helens Hospital. But down here, when registered, okay, a different date. That's the birth date. It is, but it doesn't really matter. The reason I'm showing you this is to show you how the system operates and how, when you know these things, you know that you're not the surname. If you look at your license, you will see that the surname is separate to the given names. Your parents only gave you names, and if you use those names, you stay on the private side of the ledger. But the moment you use the surname, you duck into their public full system. No, that's where we were educated, wasn't it? The public full system.